destiny.
Hello and welcome to Gaming Fixx. This is Frank Perkins, and you are listening. It's been a while since we've been on the air, and that's been interesting. I keep saying we, but you know the show. I guess I've always pluralized the show. Just used to doing that. We're still looking for more. Hopefully, we'll get some more on-air hosts and people that can talk about gaming and hopefully cover some of our wonderful conventions that we go to. We assume that at some point in time, of course, we'll actually be able to go to conventions. I know it's been about, like 2 weeks. And originally we were off for the holiday. And then last week we needed a little bit of time. I needed a little bit of time to kind of figure out things and how I was going to get everything going. But we're here this week, and hopefully we're going to have a great show for you. Hope you're going to like it. Today I was going to discuss, we have a format, or when we do our podcast, we have, of course, the how did you get your game on, and that's not exactly what this is. This is more just like, I think a lot of people, especially right now, are kind of curious as to what I've been, just like kind of figure I'd run through my day. Of course, I'm not recording from the studio. I'm recording from my house here in Bellflower, and it's interesting. Hopefully, it will have the same great sound that you love from the studio, but we're all making do with what we have, and hopefully, if we can take 2 hours of your day, if I can take 2 hours of your day and give you a little bit of entertainment, and maybe you can forget about this whole crazy thing. We're going to focus on this thing a little bit today. We're going to talk about COVID-19 and some of the things that just basically like how to mentally deal with it, or what you can do. Obviously, the main message: stay at home, and you're following that if you're listening to this, most likely. But also, there's people I know that are working too, and if you're listening to this after work, then hopefully we can give you a little bit of relaxing time, because I know that work has been a lot more stressful lately. I myself have been staying at home. The only time I go out is for my treatments, for my dialysis. But every other time, I pretty much stay here, and I have to occupy my time, and it's hours in the day, and so that's the thing. Luckily, right now I have cable, so I'll talk about a little bit about some of that. One thing that I've been doing a lot of stuff, and we'll be discussing like kind of the ins and outs of how to do these things, that's they ended up being topics. But I have been one thing that I've been doing that's pretty fun is I have a couple friends that run Jackbox games. Jackbox is like, you don't know Jack, but it's run on the computer, and they have a hosting site, and basically what they can do is they give you a code, you go on the hosting site, and you can play the game with everybody, and so it allows for party games a lot easier, which is really nice, because the one thing that's good to have, especially in this situation, is socialization. So you can get a lot more socialization, which is really good, and have a good time, and that's good. A buddy of mine, I don't know, we're cool. Darren Funkenhausen, who is also with Skybound Games, runs it off of Facebook, and I go and I play that. Another thing that I've been doing is with my buddies is we'll talk about BGA, which is board gaming I just got to think what it is. It's a board game application, and like I said, we'll have more information about that. But I play on that, and we've been playing a lot of Seven Wonders, and also learned 2 new games. I learned I got to think of the games. One of them had like kind of a weird name. I can't think of it right now. It was basically, it was weird. It was explained to me really quickly. I don't know if you've ever had one of those players that just, like, it really feels like they're teaching you how to play the game enough so that they have something to do, but not necessarily where they want you to be a competitive person against them. I don't know. It feels that way. I'm not sure if he knows exactly what he's doing, because he may not, and if he doesn't, then that's understandable. It happens. So anyway, I was playing in that game, and it was weird because we won. I wasn't expecting that. It was like, oh, don't put that monster there, and then I put the monster there, but then I did the right thing about making the other monster like stronger or whatever. It was, I honestly don't understand the game. Like, I could not explain it to you to the life of me. I couldn't win it because I just don't really know. The only reason I won it was just by total fluke. So that was weird. We also played a game. It was a card collecting game about space exploration, and I can't remember the name of that one either. Because I've only played these games once, so it's kind of hard to remember exactly the name, and sometimes I don't write it down. And I think that by listening to this show as long as you have, you probably come to figure out that I'm not a board gamer as much as I'm a role player, so it's been kind of different that way. So I did that, and then it's been really cool because I've had cable and I have Netflix. But on cable, luckily the landlord has, because they're the ones that provide the cable, they have all the channels. And so I was able to see some really cool shows that I've been wanting to see. The first thing that I watched was Watchmen. Watchmen was great. I would totally recommend it. It's totally worth it. One thing I will say, so that everybody knows, is that if you go and you watch Watchmen thinking that you're going to get the graphic novel or an explanation that's similar to the graphic novel so that you understand it, I would caution you about that. I think it's a good story on itself. However, I think it would be a lot more enjoyable if you were to watch the graphic novel, or at least watch the movie first, and get an idea of a lot of the concepts that are being discussed, because a lot of the concepts are concepts based on the movie, because the show kind of takes place after the movie or after the graphic novel. It's definitely several years after the graphic novel. In some ways, it's an alternate reality, because some of the things that happened in the graphic novel didn't necessarily happen in real time. So that's kind of interesting. And it really focuses on... It definitely talks about racial tension in America. And I thought that was an interesting part of it. It discusses... it has some nice swerves that you might not expect. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's only like 9 episodes, and I started watching. I watched one day, and I think one another day, and then the next day I had like completely free, because I didn't have to go to my treatment or anything like that. So I watched the whole thing. Like, I just binged it like for the whole 7 hours or whatever. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Then after that, I've been wanting to see Crimes of Grindelwald, the Harry Potter movie, or actually the Fantastic Beasts movie. I guess it's a Wizarding World movie. I guess that's the overarching Harry Potter title now. That's what J.K. Rowling calls it, the Wizarding World. I watched it. I gotta say, something about it, it didn't feel quite as strong as the first one. It wasn't as whimsical. It was a lot darker. It kind of reminded me of Prisoner of Azkaban, but I really liked Prisoner. This one, I don't know. It's like it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes, but I felt like it was. I wouldn't say it was. It didn't feel draggy. It just didn't. It almost felt too fast, which is really weird because, like I said, for 2 hours and 30 minutes, it's not exactly dragging. It might have been a little bit shorter than that. It might have been like 2:15 or something, but still, it was really, really. It was a long movie, but it didn't feel like a long movie. It's kind of interesting that way. Then I saw Shaft, which I really enjoyed. That's the new one where you've got Shaft Jr. and then you've got Samuel Jackson as Shaft, and the grandfather is played by Richard Roundtree, the original Shaft. No, that's a fun movie. That was really cool. The storyline isn't like super, convoluted or anything. It's a real simple, show. It's funny. A lot of the humor is talking about, the way that things were during that time, when Shaft, the original, when blaxploitation was really at its peak. And this is, this pokes fun at blaxploitation at its peak. And, it's a lot of compare to the current way things are. I thought that was pretty cool. If you don't like if you're kind of turned off by homophobic jokes, you might find it a little bit I feel like the jokes, they come from Shaft about, man being a man, and he never really gets put into check about that concept. Like, he has this concept throughout the whole thing. That concept is there, so it never really gets made fun of. So I thought that wasn't necessarily, like, some people might not care for that. But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Oh, and then I saw Brightburn. Now, I don't know if you've heard much about Brightburn, but Brightburn is a movie about a alien. Is basically, it's like, imagine if Superman and Horror have a baby. That's exactly what Brightburn is. It's even set in Kansas, and